Hello everyone, I'm Lauren and welcome to another video from the Tiny Menagerie. Most of the time, fish are easy to look after and really quite hardy so long as their tank conditions are optimal for them. But things can and do go wrong, especially when you're buying new fish, and one of the most common problems you're going to come across is a fungal infection. So I recently bought a pair of German blue rams. I particularly like this female. There's something about her, she's really chunky and quite a solid little fish, and I just really liked her, and I wanted a male that looked like he'd be a good match for her. And this little fella seemed to have a similar temperament, and so I was hoping that they would be able to pair up at some time in the future. But he has come with a catch. He has a fungal infection along his dorsal fin. There are lots of different types of fungal infection, but they mostly have this furry type appearance in common. It can be black or white or cream or even red in colour, but effectively this fuzziness that you can see is the fungal mycelium colonising the fish's flesh. And from there it will send out spores that can affect other weakened fish, and so it's really important that you treat the infection as soon as you spot it. Luckily, treating fungal infections in fish is nice and easy, especially if you can catch it nice and early. In the later stages of an infection, you'll find that the fungus will spread throughout the body and it can get right into the base of the fins where they grow from, and if it starts to get this bad, then treatment is far less likely to be effective. And in the really advanced stages, the fish is sadly very unlikely to be able to make a full recovery. But if you catch it nice and early, then your fish should be back to normal after treatment. And just to point out, obviously I would never advocate buying fish that are sick, but finding adult German blue rams for sale is really rare in my area, and so I decided to take a chance on him. Other than the infection, overall he seems like a very happy, healthy, lively little fish, and this infection has probably come about due to poor conditions where he was being bred, the stress of being transported, and then squabbling with other adult cichlids in the store. But anyway, let's get him treated so that he can go back to flirting with his girl. So I'm going to be using King British brand fin rot and fungus treatment, partly because I've used it before so I know that it works, but it's also nice and cheap to buy. It only comes in at about £4 at the time of purchase. It's also perfectly safe to use in a tank that has shrimp in it, so my little shrimpies should be nice and safe. And it's also very easy to use. It's pre-mixed, it's a case of literally just squirting it into the tank. It comes with a pipette and an instruction leaflet, or at least it did. I've actually lost the instruction leaflet now, but it did come with one, I promise, and the bottle of pre-mixed solution. Using it is simply a case of giving the bottle a good shake, then use the pipette to draw out 1 ml of the solution, and then squirt that into the tank water. How much you need depends on your tank size, and as my tank is 60 litres, and you need 1 ml for every 10 litres, I'm going to be adding 6 ml of the solution. And I'm going to do this every day until the treatment has worked, without doing any water changes, which is a really important part of this. I want the strength of the medication to build up in the tank until it becomes strong enough to be able to destroy whatever species of fungus this is. If it goes on for longer than 7 days, then I'll do a water change and start the process again. Leave the filter on while you're treating your fish so that the solution can be evenly distributed around the tank, although you'll probably want to remove anything that fixes carbon or anything like that if you have the cartridges in your filter. But we'll add in the solution and we will check back in with him tomorrow. Well, here we are the next day, and there is not much change, to be honest. But the more I look at him, the more I am pretty sure he is going to lose the long ray of his dorsal fin, as the infection is a little bit more advanced than I first thought. It's not too bad though, it will regrow eventually, and as the infection is still there, I'm going to keep on dosing the tank until we can get rid of it completely, and then we'll just see how much damage has really been done. So it's now actually 4 days later, that's 4 days of daily treatments, and the fungus is finally starting to release its grip. Sadly, the male has lost the long ray of his dorsal fin, and you can really see now just how much that fungus had been eating away at him. He's not cured yet though, so need to keep up with those treatments. And it's now been 7 days since I started treatment, and the change is now quite remarkable. There's not really any more of the white fungal fuzz that's left, and we can clearly see just how much damage has been done, and it's not too bad, to be honest. His fin is rather ragged up at the top, but that will heal. And at least the infection hasn't got into his body, as that's when it would have potentially become a life-threatening fungal infection. A couple more days of treatment though, and plenty of good quality food, and he should finally have this fungus fought off. And here we are. It's actually been 9 days since the start of treatment now. I did a water change on day 7 just to refresh the tank, but my German ram is finally looking clear of fungus. Yes, he's still wounded where it has damaged his fin, but he's healing and I'm confident he will be fighting fit again in a week or two. At which point I will be able to start conditioning him and the female up. But I hope this shows just how easy it is to treat fungal infections. It does take time and patience and a negligible amount of money, but it's certainly not something that needs to be worried about too much. And just to point out, if you're finding the fungus is particularly stubborn, then you can try ramping the temperature in the tank up by about 5 degrees for a week or so, and that can also kill it off as much as the chemicals. My rams are already in very warm water, so it wasn't really an option for me. But if you're keeping something like guppies or danios who like slightly cooler water to begin with, then it's a great option for you. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little video. Keep those fishes happy and healthy. Happy fish keeping everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye!